There's a paradox most people never figure out. The harder you try to be wanted, the more invisible you become. But the moment you stop chasing, something shifts. Suddenly, people lean in. They text first. They ask about you. And here's the strange part. You didn't change what you said or how you looked. You changed something they couldn't see, but absolutely felt. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you flips everything you've been told about attraction on its head. And hey, if you're tired of advice that sounds good but doesn't actually work in real life, go ahead and subscribe. This channel is built for people who want results, not theory. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how the people everyone gravitates toward are never the ones trying the hardest? They're not posting thirst traps every day. They're not texting back in 30 seconds. They're not over-explaining themselves or fishing for validation. Yet somehow, they're the ones people obsess over. Why is that? Today, we're breaking down what I call the Machiavellian Method. And no, this isn't about being cold or fake or playing mind games. It's about understanding a truth that's been hiding in plain sight for centuries. Machiavelli wrote about power, but buried in his work is a blueprint for desire. And it all starts with one uncomfortable fact. People don't value what's always available. We're going to cover why neediness repels on a visceral level, how to create the kind of presence that makes people curious instead of comfortable, the specific behaviors that signal value without you saying a word, how to use strategic absence to increase your magnetism, why emotional self-sufficiency is the ultimate form of attraction, and how to make people feel chosen without ever chasing them. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll see every interaction differently. Let's start with the elephant in the room, neediness. You've heard it kills attraction, but do you know why? It's not because needing someone is wrong. It's because neediness broadcasts a message louder than anything you could ever say. I don't believe I'm enough. And when someone picks up on that, their brain does something automatic. It pulls back, not out of cruelty.
Out of instinct. Here's what happens on a psychological level. When you're needy, you're essentially handing someone else the remote control to your emotional state. You're saying, you decide if I feel good today. And that's a massive burden. Nobody wants to be responsible for another person's happiness. It's exhausting. Worse, it makes you predictable. And predictability is the silent killer of desire. Think about the last time you were really into something. A show, a hobby, a person. What kept you hooked? The unknown. The next episode, the mystery. The moment you could predict every move, you lost interest. Human attraction works the same way. When someone knows they have you completely, the game is over. Not because they're shallow, because the tension that made you interesting just evaporated. Let me tell you about a guy I'll call Marcus. Marcus was smart, decent looking, had a good job, but every relationship ended the same way. 3 months in, the girl would get distant. He'd panic, he'd text more, plan elaborate dates, write long messages about his feelings, and she'd pull further away. He thought he was showing love, but what he was really showing was fear. Fear that if he didn't do enough, she'd leave. And that fear made her want to leave even faster. One day, Marcus tried something different. Not a trick, a shift. He stopped managing her emotions, stopped checking in every 2 hours, stopped rearranging his life around her schedule. And something bizarre happened. She started initiating. She started asking when she'd see him next. Not because he played hard to get, because he stopped playing altogether. He just lived, and that made him magnetic. So here's the first principle. Stop trying to be desired. Start being someone who desires their own life so much that others want in. That's not a game. That's self-respect with a side effect. The problem with neediness runs even deeper than most people realize. It's not just that it makes you unattractive in the moment. It's that it creates a feedback loop that destroys your self-esteem over time. When you need someone's approval to feel good and they withhold it, you feel worse. Then you try harder. Then they pull back more. Then you feel even worse. It's a downward spiral that ends with you being a shell of who you were. The antidote isn't becoming cold or detached. It's building a life so rich that one person's opinion becomes just data, not destiny. When you have multiple sources of meaning, fulfillment, and joy, no single person can make or break you. And paradoxically, that's when you become most attractive, because you're no longer carrying the energy of desperation, you're carrying the energy of abundance. Now let's talk about presence, real presence.
Not the fake, confident Instagram version, the kind that makes people stop mid-sentence when you walk into a room. This isn't about looks, it's about energy. And energy is shaped by one thing, where your attention lives. Most people scatter their attention like confetti. They're thinking about what someone thinks of them, wondering if they said the right thing, checking their phone every 90 seconds. That fragmentation is palpable. People feel it, and it makes you forgettable. Contrast that with someone who's fully here. When they listen, they actually listen. When they speak, there's no filler, no nervous laughter, no people-pleasing, just clarity. That person doesn't need to be loud or flashy. They command attention by being undivided, and that's rare enough to be intoxicating. Here's a micro-behavior that changes everything. When someone's talking to you, don't plan your response while they're speaking. Just listen. Let silence hang for a beat after they finish. Then respond. That 2-second pause does something powerful. It shows you're not reactive. You're not desperate to fill space. You're choosing your words, and that makes every word land heavier. Another one, stop validating people constantly. I'm not saying be rude. I'm saying stop reflexively agreeing or complimenting just to smooth things over. If someone says something you genuinely like, say so. If not, stay neutral. The absence of automatic validation makes the real validation mean something. People start working for your approval instead of assuming they have it. And here's the kicker. Be willing to disagree, politely but firmly. Most people are so scared of conflict they nod along with everything. But when you calmly hold a different view, you signal something crucial. You're not here to be liked, you're here to be real. And real is what people remember. Let me tell you about a woman named Aisha. She worked in marketing, and she noticed something. In meetings, the loudest people got attention at first, but over time, it was the person who spoke less, but with precision, who everyone turned to when decisions mattered. She stopped contributing to every discussion, started speaking only when she had something that added value, and suddenly, when she did speak, the room went quiet. She didn't gain respect by doing more. She gained it by respecting her own voice enough to use it selectively. That's strategic presence. It's not withholding, it's intentional, and it makes people lean in instead of tuning out. There's something else about presence that most people miss. It's about what you don't do as much as what you do. The person who doesn't laugh at every joke shows that they have standards.
The person who doesn't feel every silence shows they're comfortable with themselves. The person who doesn't chase every opportunity shows they're selective. All of these non-actions communicate value more loudly than any action could, because restraint is rare. Most people are so desperate to be liked, to be included, to be validated, that they say yes to everything. But when you say no, when you hold back, when you choose deliberately, you signal that your time and energy are finite resources, and finite resources are valuable. Now we get to the part that makes people uncomfortable. Strategic absence. This is where the Machiavellian element really kicks in. But let's be clear, this isn't about ghosting people or playing games. It's about understanding that your absence should be felt. Because if it's not, your presence doesn't matter. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. If you're always available, you're training people to take you for granted. Not because they're bad people, because that's how human psychology works. We value scarcity. We pursue what's just out of reach. We obsess over what we can't quite have. So what does strategic absence look like in practice? It means you have a life that doesn't revolve around one person. You have projects, passions, friends,
goals that matter whether this person is in your life or not. And when you're engaged in those things, you're not checking your phone. You're not half present. You're gone, fully absorbed. And when you come back, you bring that energy with you. It also means you don't always say yes. If someone asks to hang out and you genuinely have plans, you say so. No apologies, no over-explaining. Just a simple, "I can't tonight, but I'm free Thursday." That does two things. It shows your time has value, and it makes Thursday something they look forward to. Here's where people mess this up. They think strategic absence means being cold or distant. It doesn't. When you are present, be fully present, warm, engaged, real. The contrast is what creates the pull. If you're always distant, you're just unavailable. If you're always available, you're furniture. But if you oscillate between high-quality presence and purposeful absence, you become unforgettable. There's a concept in psychology called intermittent reinforcement. It's why slot machines are addictive. You don't win every time, but you win just enough to keep playing. In relationships, this translates to being consistently inconsistent in your availability, but never in your character. You're not unreliable. You're just not always there. And that unpredictability keeps the dopamine flowing. Let me give you a real scenario. Two people are dating. Person A texts back immediately, every time. Always available, always agreeable. Person B takes a few hours sometimes. Has nights where they're unreachable because they're at the gym or working on something or out with friends. Who do you think person A thinks about more? Person B, every time. Not because B is playing games, because B has a life and A is curious about it. If you want to be desired, you have to be desirable. And desirable people are people with momentum, people who are going somewhere, people whose time is a gift, not a given. The beauty of strategic absence is that it forces the other person to confront their own feelings. When you're always there, they never have to miss you. They never have to wonder what you're doing. They never have to feel that pang of wanting to see you. But when you create space, when you have other priorities, when you're not always accessible, they suddenly have room to feel desire. And desire needs space to grow. It can't grow in the presence of constant availability. Let's shift gears to something deeper: emotional self-sufficiency. This is the core of everything. Because you can fake strategic absence, you can rehearse confident body language, but you can't fake being okay without someone. And people can smell desperation through a screen. Emotional self-sufficiency means your happiness isn't outsourced. You're not waiting for someone to text you to feel good. You're not basing your self-worth on whether someone likes you back. You have an internal compass, a life you're proud of. Relationships enhance it, but they don't define it. Here's the paradox. The less you need someone, the more they want to be needed by you. Because being chosen by someone who has options feels like winning. Being chosen by someone who has no options feels like settling. So how do you build this? Start by auditing your life. Are you doing things that make you proud when no one's watching? Do you have goals that excite you independent of romance? Are you investing in friendships, skills, health, creativity? If the answer is no, that's your work. Not because it'll make someone like you, because it'll make you like you. And that's the foundation of everything. Another piece: stop seeking closure or validation from people who don't choose you. If someone's not into you, that's data, not a tragedy. Move on without the need to understand why or change their mind. That ability to let go without drama is magnetic. It signals emotional maturity and self-respect. I know someone named Terrence. He got dumped out of nowhere, hurt like hell, but instead of spiraling or begging, he went quiet, hit the gym, focused on a side business he'd been putting off.
6 months later, he ran into his ex. She asked how he was doing. He smiled and said, "Honestly,
really good. And he meant it. She reached out a week later wanting to talk. Not because he waited for her, because he didn't. He became a better version of himself, and that shift was undeniable. You can't control how people feel about you, but you can control whether you're the kind of person people regret losing. And that starts with not losing yourself when they leave. Here's a practical framework. The next time you feel the urge to reach out because you're anxious, pause. Ask yourself, am I adding value to this interaction, or am I just managing my own anxiety? If it's the latter, do something else. Go for a walk, call a friend, work on something. Let the urge pass. And then, if you still want to reach out later because you have something genuine to share, do it, but from a place of choice, not need. Emotional self-sufficiency also means you stop interpreting every action as a reflection of your worth. If someone doesn't text back quickly, it doesn't mean you're not interesting, it just means they're busy. If someone doesn't laugh at your joke, it doesn't mean you're not funny, it means that joke didn't land with that person at that time. When you stop taking everything personally, you become bulletproof. And bulletproof people are magnetic because they're not constantly seeking reassurance. Now let's talk about making people feel chosen. This is the art, because the goal isn't to be distant or cold, it's to create a dynamic where your attention feels like a prize. And the way you do that is by being selective, but generous when you choose someone. When you give your time, give it fully. No half presence, no distracted scrolling. Eye contact, real questions, genuine curiosity. Make the person feel like they're the only one in the room. That experience becomes addictive, because most people never get that. They get people who are physically there, but mentally elsewhere. But here's the balance. Don't do that for everyone. Be friendly to most people, warm, polite, kind, but reserve that deep presence for people who earn it, people who reciprocate, people who add to your life. That selectivity makes your attention valuable. There's also the power of the compliment that costs you something. Anyone can say, "You look nice," but if you notice something specific, something that required you to actually pay attention, that lands differently. I love how you always ask follow-up questions. Most people don't actually listen. That compliment says, "I see you, I'm paying attention, and you matter enough for me to say it." And here's a subtle power move. Occasionally prioritize someone else in a group setting. If you're talking to someone one-on-one and a friend walks up, introduce them. Give them a moment. Then return your attention to the first person. That shows you're not possessive or needy, but it also shows you don't abandon people mid-conversation. It's a small thing, but it builds trust. One more thing. Be willing to walk away. I don't mean storm off. I mean, have the self-respect to exit situations where you're not valued. If someone's playing games, disrespecting your time, or treating you like an option, you don't fight for them. You just leave space. Often, that space is what wakes them up. And if it doesn't, you've saved yourself months of nonsense. Let me share one final story. A friend of mine, we'll call her Nina, was seeing a guy who was breadcrumbing her, texting just enough to keep her interested, but never committing to plans. She could feel herself getting anxious, checking her phone constantly. Then one day, she just stopped. Didn't block him, didn't send a dramatic message, just stopped engaging. 2 weeks later, he texted asking if she was okay. She replied casually that she'd been busy. He asked to see her. She said maybe next week. He showed up differently after that, more intentional, more present, because for the first time, he realized she wasn't a guarantee. That's not manipulation, that's self-preservation, and it's attractive because it's real. So let's bring this home. The Machiavellian Method isn't about tricks, it's about truth. The truth is that people are drawn to those who don't need them, but choose them. The truth is that your presence is only valuable if your absence is felt. The truth is that confidence isn't loud. It's quiet certainty that you'll be fine either way. Stop chasing. Start building a life so compelling that people want to be part of it. Stop over-functioning in relationships. Let people come to you. Stop seeking approval. Start approving of yourself. And watch how everything shifts. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the smartest or the best looking. You just have to be whole, self-sufficient, clear about your value.
And when you are, you won't have to convince anyone of it. They'll feel it. If this resonated, do me a favor. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and tell me what's one behavior you're going to change after watching this. I read every comment, and I want to know what clicked for you. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's the time. This channel is for people who are done with surface-level advice and ready for what actually works. You've got everything you need. Now go use it.